the club from the winter to the spring. Well, you know what? I'm here right now to show you something. Okay? This is a photograph. Okay, right here, coming up. Here you see the club in 2002. Right? See how right there it is? Look at the size of the parking lot. Everything else. Boats, docks. Okay? Now, that doesn't look that hot. Now, I want to bring you up to speed here. Okay, because, yeah, there's quite the difference, right, with how he presents it and what it really is. So, anyways, I'm going to show you something right here. Sorry, it's taking me a little while. Here is the club now. Well, last year, Google Earth, right? Quite the difference, isn't it? Now here, you have a Humber Bay put in. That's the boat launch. That's where all your jet ski traffic comes from. Okay, there's the parking lot. See all these trees here? Look at them. Look at them. Look at how healthy that is. That's all, that area there is all the original property owned by, Mr. Binks in his lively, where he used to rent out boats. And people would come down to the river and swim, everything else. Of course, you can't swim in that river now because it's been so mismanaged by the Toronto Region Conservation Authority. Now, you see these two fields here? Those were swamp once upon a time, way back in the day. This road didn't exist. You couldn't get to the club. You had to go down this really steep set of stairs here, So that's how you used to get here. Now, this is today. That is a swamp. This is a swamp. These are filled in by landfill. This is all like, when I say landfill, garbage. Okay? The club has been, some of it as well, but all the trees on the shore are still there. Nobody's cut down anything. You saw the 2002 picture. Look at the difference. Look at how the club, that area, how alive it is. Okay, we got all kinds of wildlife in there. It's amazing. It's a great place to be. Now, Jason Stills shows you a picture of 2025 in the winter. Of course, it doesn't look that good. Here it is, the club is not responsible for winter. Okay? Now, what I want to get to is that how one man can start a misinformation campaign and basically lie his face off, and because he wants the club and the property it sits on for his own personal venture. Guess what? This club was formed by a group of boaters approached John Hicks and said, hey, can we buy the property off of you? Because he wanted to retire. And they all knew him, and they formed a co-op because they still wanted to keep that tradition going. They kept their boats there, and they wanted to keep going there. And they wanted to preserve this place for their families and for the families of generations to come. Right? Now, we bought that property off of the Charlie Hicks boat lively. Bought it and paid for it. Bunch of guys scraped their life savings together so that Bill could retire and they could take over it. And what Bill really liked, what he liked about this, and Pappy was what he was called by that time, and his wife was called Ma and Pappy, and loved by everyone. Okay? He liked it because these were people he knew, and he liked it because it wasn't going to be commercial use. It was a non-profit, okay? And our goal was to keep it affordable for everyone. And that's what we have done. We have kept it affordable for everyone. It's the only co-op, non-profit marina boat club in Ontario. It's the lowest fees. It's, it has its unique problems, but it's 100% run by volunteers, okay? Everybody pitches in, we do the work, and we do the conservation work. We've kept those banks, from collapsing. No thanks to, Toronto Regional Conservation Authority, who lets these giant ice flows come down the river every single spring because they shut the dam in September, so they drop the water level in the river drastically. They don't give a shit about anybody else. Paddlers, boaters, nothing. All they want to do is keep that conservation area full up in Brampton so they have places, go skating. That's not what, these dams were built for. They were built to moderate the river. Now, what happens is that conservation area, the water is full in the spring when the spring flood comes. So they let it go and they let the ice come down with it. And, it's bad enough you got, flood waters. You got 1,000-pound chunks of ice coming with it, battering everything in their path. And the amount of trees that I've seen come down that river, in floods is unbelievable. Absolutely detestable. And that's not to do with the club. The club's not nothing to do with it. Okay? 900, toxic waste spills were recorded on the Humber watershed. Not a single one of them originated with the club. Okay? Now, they identified on the lower Humber itself, they identified over 160 sites where raw sewage was escaping into the river during, flooding and rainstorms. 160 sites. Guess what? Not a single one of them came from the yacht club. We have a self-contained sewage system that gets pumped out, and, it's self-contained. Not a single drop of raw sewage enters that river from the club. Okay? This is what we've been doing. Now, we own the club. We own the land it was on. And the city came, not the city, the Toronto Regional Conservation Authority came and absconded it and, allowed us to lease it. Well, over the years, we've paid millions and millions of dollars to lease our own bloody property back, and the Toronto Regional Conservation Authority has been basically a slum landlord. They have taken none of that money and put it back into the property. None of it. Instead, that Conservation Authority has ballooned into 400 full-time employees and, a budget of $338 million. Okay? They were set up to control flooding on the Humber River. That was the whole purpose. The Ontario government formed this Toronto Regional Conservation Authority to control flooding on that river. This river has breached its banks 4 times in the last 5 years. Okay? That's just 4 times in the last 5 years. Now, they were tasked with building 6 dams on this river in order to do this. They stopped at 2. They only built 2 of the 6. They've never accomplished their original purpose. Okay? They've never done a thing. They've never done anything for the property. We were supposed to get, okay, you'll see in the Kingsville and along H.A. Brill Park, you'll see these rocks that bolster up the shorelines. We've been promised that for years. Never happened. Okay? Everything.